You ready? Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Here we are.
I don't think it started yet. There it is. Okay. It is Sunday, October the 9th, 2022. Welcome to the Zodiac Chatline. I am your host, Tennah, and of course, I have the lovely Cassie with me, as always. Girl,
Hi.
how
Hi.
are ya? How are
I
ya?
am so good. How are you?
You know, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm actually really good. I'm really good. I am living my best life right now and just enjoying all of the things. So, yeah. We expect to have a guest, but right now we're gonna catch all up on what's been going on. Mercury has just come out of retrograde, so we've had a little technical difficulties. But it's been quite a past couple weeks. A lot has happened. We did see Mercury go direct last week in Virgo. And then Pluto, the planet of transformation that has been so well hanging out in Capricorn, has decided to also go direct. And that probably, to me, brings a lot more transformations and change than even Mercury going direct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
We are definitely in Libra season with the Sun in Libra, Venus in Libra, and then Mercury will leave Virgo and go into Libra tomorrow. So very much about partnerships, compromise, balance, a little give and take.
Beauty, aesthetics, charm, pleasure. Like, lean into it, y'all, because in 2 weeks, we are going to be mired down in astrological clusterfuckery. So this nice little couple of weeks of Mercury direct, and we're finally like just edging out of that shadow period too, with Mercury moving into Libra to join the Sun and Venus, which Venus rules Libra. So all those planets are very happy there, those celestial bodies. And I put in my notes for this to leverage and activate your charm over the next couple of weeks, because we really are, once we get to Scorpio season, moving into some messy energy. So the better bridges you can build now, the happier and more peaceful relationships you can cultivate, the better positioned you will be to deal with what comes our way at the end of October and beginning of November, because it's not going to be good. You guys, it's not going to be good.
Because before we touch on that, today, where we are presently, we do have a full moon, and the full moon is in Aries, and it's the hunter's moon, and it is called that because it is the beginning of what everybody knows is hunting season. And here in the northern hemisphere, it is fall and crisp. Cassie's a little bit further north than I am, and it's still chilly here, so I know it's cold up there. So we are
we
definitely
frosty. We
feeling
frosty.
the seasons change, the energies change, and I think we are watching a lot of lessons in maleness, you know what I mean, and how men are perceived, in how men are perceiving women, in how the roles, we talked about recently, we've just seen a rash of exposures of infidelities throughout Hollywood, and even here on the YouTube platform, the Try Guys. I mean, if it wasn't for TikTok, I would know none of these juicy bits, but it seemed to get all the way live. And I just find it interesting that if we think about back in the 40s or anything like that, where men did step out and kind of women stayed and accepted that because that's kind of what the role was, and women didn't have much more than their like their own income, their own bank accounts. We all know that women's rights has not really has only come so far just recently. And now most of these women make more money or just as much money as their husbands. They're like, listen, I'm not doing this with you. We see Tom Brady and Giselle. We see Adam Levine got caught with somebody. Nia Long, I love you. Just let me know. I will, girl.
And they will
Like,
comfort you.
Hello. I mean, like, her husband's was a coach for the Boston Celtics and was dismissed. And then the one that really broke my heart, and I'm here for you as well, Tia Mari and your husband. I know that was a very difficult decision for both of you. They've been married 14 years. And so, like, watching Mercury go direct and watching Pluto go direct, there are so many things that I think a lot of people were not prepared for.
Yeah. It's fascinating that I think that was really keenly observed, like talking about masculinity too, and it ties into all this conversation, because Pluto in Capricorn is this giant transit that we've been experiencing since 2008, y'all. And we've talked about it before on the show, but if you're new or you don't remember, it's also the United States' Pluto return. So any planet's return means it is getting to the same position it was in when you were born. So Pluto, because it takes forever to transit a sign, like 14 to 20 years, depending on the sign, human beings don't get to live long enough, but the United States has. And since 2008, we've had all these reckonings around gender, around, queerness, around pay disparity, around race, and all of these things that were so fun. All these oppressions that were fundamental to the founding of this country and the success of the men that founded this country. And now we all as a society have to look at that and look at the country's founding and look at its history and say, does this work now? The narratives we tell ourselves about the United States, are they real? And then the what's left here, is this what we want? How can we transform this to better serve who lives here now? And do these, does our origin story meet this moment? And I don't think it does. And the next 6 months is when we kind of have to wrap up, is when this Pluto and Capricorn transit is going to wrap up. And I think we're going to see a lot more around these issues here in the US and everywhere, because Capricorn is the sign of the father in the zodiac, regardless of what country you live in. So there's been a lot of transformative energy around, I think, the traditional roles of fathers, the idea of, paternal ways of patriarchy and paternal ways of organizing societies. And I'm here for a transformation around that.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And, the what do they call them? Gen Zers, or the Alpha generation. Those are the kids. They are born during this revolution. They are speaking out. And even if we look at the biggest right now, what's going on in Iran, and that right there is like the heightened level of patriarchy controlling women and watching these women lose their life because they want the simple right not to have to cover their head with a hijab. So I feel like the rest of this year, especially here for us in the US, we have elections coming up. And as you can see on Cassie's face, we are really praying because this election season has continued to bring out extremism from the Republican Party, just for the candidates that they have voted for. Right now we have the January 6th hearings going on. That is so much Trump's Florida home was raided by there's just been so much exposure in the past 3 months behind just what everybody thought could stay under the surface. And there's just, I mean, I did not think I would see this much exposure in my lifetime. I feel like when we were children, we were really hidden from what happened in the government and, anything that really affected us. And now, because of Roe v. Wade being overturned, everybody is like, okay, wait a minute. Like you said, the US is having a come to Jesus. It's like, is this how we want to proceed in the future? Because it's not working for the majority. That's the thing. It's not working for the majority. The minority that it's working for, the top 1%ers, they want to maintain their billionaire status for whatever reason, and not, but the majority is just evolving in a very different way.
Yeah, it is. It's that 1%, and then the 25 or so percent of white Americans that they have tricked into. I'll say it's more than 25% of white Americans. It's 25% of Americans, 100% of whom happen to be white. These people that they have tricked into voting against their own interests, frankly, because they're not falling into these tax brackets that are seeing, 0% income tax and whatever. But promising them that white supremacy that they love so dearly. And that small and just tyrannical minority in this country manages to cling to a shred of legislative power election after election, and it fucking sucks. It sucks because there's like 75% of us in this country that just don't want this. Like,
no, and it's like when you watch certain videos and you see people talking to people who genuinely believe the things that they heard are true, that Trump did not lose the election. I mean, they genuinely believe that. They feel January 6th was justified. It boggles my mind because I'm like, are we on the same planet? No, clearly. No, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they are so convincingly loud and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They are like, and he said, he said, where did he get that? Well, he told us that it was, and I think the one thing I just saw the other day was something about how they knew it was illegal and they tried to dupe somebody else. And I'm just like, in the history of, somebody did a back-to-back video of every single president, and when they transferred power, it was very peaceful. And all of a sudden, it's just like, I am glad that things are changing. And we all know that have to live here longer than the people that are elected now. You know what I mean? Most of them won't be around for the next 20 years. Let's be very honest about that. They might have 4 or 5, 2 or 3, maybe at most, elections left to vote in, be eligible in, any of that. So, but the rest of us, like, we're here, and the younger generation is on our side.
Yeah.
they are.
It's true. It's true. And we're going to move into Pluto and Aquarius after we leave this Pluto and Capricorn period. And I've actually never looked back to see when that happened in terms of our original, the US's founding. Like, it must have been relatively shortly after, how deep they were into the Pluto and Capricorn transit during the founding of the US. I would just wonder if that the era right after, the states' founding, saw more of a humanitarian tilt toward what happened. I'll have to go back and look at that, but I think certainly.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, certainly for our present moment, when we have the opportunity to make advancements in how we communicate, how we govern, it through technology and the ways that, like, we relate with each other, and Pluto and Aquarius is going to help us transform that. So I'm excited for that, but I don't think it's going to be a bumpy few months. You all, the election in the US happens the day of the full moon eclipse in Taurus. Like, I don't love that. I don't
Well,
love.
I don't hate it because the moon in Taurus is exalted.
True.
You know, May, we had the new moon eclipse in Taurus. And I feel like a lot of Scorpios felt some energy. And I feel like there was some interesting transformations just as far as like learning who was going to be getting a lot, like right before it was when we learned the primaries. And I think, now we are in the heat of people really pounding us with all of the text messages and commercials.
So let's talk, before we jump ahead, let's stay in the present. So let's talk a little bit about this full moon in Aries. What kind of work are you feeling like folks should be doing? And also, y'all, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We would love to answer them. But yeah, so I'm curious, what are you releasing this full moon in Aries? What are you thinking about?
Well, I love me a moon in Aries because, that's my life. And I think I'm releasing some child wounds. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am really just learning to enjoy the moments. And like, today, happy Pride to anybody who was where I was. Just watching the joy on everybody's face out there, just celebrating. Like, I'm just really always remembering to like find the child in me because, as adults, we get older and we forget about our imagination, creativity, and to just have fun. And I never want to lose that part of me where it's like, life is only but so long. I need to make sure that my inner child has a blast.
Hell yes. I love that. And I was thinking the same thing. I'm so sorry about to.
Oh, yes, bless it out. Bless it out.
I was thinking the exact same thing about as far as releasing anything that feels like a leftover childhood wound, anything like any place in your life where you're regretting some, silly mistake, or you feel triggered in a way that's like calling you back to childhood. Like, those are, if you find yourself experiencing anything like that, pay attention to it and think about it and find a way to let it go. Another thing I was thinking about too with this full moon in Aries is we have Jupiter retrograding through Aries right now. And it made me think that if maybe in relationship to either what's happening to you or what's coming up for you in this full moon in Aries, if any of it relates to times like, sometimes you find yourself, I find full moons to be very emotional. And sometimes the emotions that come up are like thinking that I fucked up somewhere along the line. Like I should have done something differently, or I think about a mistake I made or something that was unlucky. And I was thinking about that in terms of Jupiter and retrograde, is like, sometimes those things that feel and seem unlucky at the time turn out to be the luckiest things. Like, take the long lens of your life. Like, don't let this full moon tempt you into reacting like a child. React like a sage, react with wisdom, because Aries moons can get feelings hurt. Like,
and it's opposing the sun in Libra, Venus in Libra, and it'll be opposing Mercury in Libra. And so that is probably within balance of yourself versus your partnerships. And maybe, like you said, don't be stomping, throwing a tantrum with your partner. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to raise a child, like a grown child. So
no,
that is a good one with Jupiter retrograde with a full moon in there. That's just, one day at a time, y'all.
Every day that this whole charade doesn't fall down around us is a blessing, you guys. Truly and truly. Oh man. So what any other Libra season tips? Because we won't see the folks until we're into Scorpio season, which is
Libra
freaking
season.
insane.
all the Libra season. So Libra season, I am all about finding cute decorations for your house. I am fine. I'm thinking like really cute accessories for yourselves. I'm very much like do a new hairstyle, like new pedicures, manicures, very much like whatever beauty is to you. Flowers, like putting flowers in your house. It is fall, so it's probably, you know, a lot of us are bringing in our plants and everything, or flowers from outside inside. So just really creating, beautifying your space. I think like while Taurus and Libra are both ruled by Venus, I feel like Libras is very much like the overall aesthetics around like Venus is our surround, or I'm sorry, Libras like surround themselves with the most beautiful, exquisite items. And it's just like,
Hmm.
ooh, you know, like a Tiffany's lamp here, or like, a Van Gogh on the wall. I mean, it's just like, just look for things that make you feel like make your insides be like, oh, that's so pretty. Like that's, when you get that feeling of like, oh, that's beautiful, or anything that is breathtaking and you see it and you're like, oh, that's stunning.
I am absolutely here for that. I think that's 100% right. I'm also all about Libra season being a time to present and display beauty. Like even like make your home cute, make yourself cute, go do something that makes you feel cute, put on the lipstick you rarely wear, whatever it is, and feel yourself. Again, we have a
Yes.
couple nice weeks coming up for chill, like relatively
Flirt.
chill.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
flirt.
Mhm.
Get your flirt on. That's what I would really say. Like you said, to get your charm on, get your flirt on with your charm, because
Mhm.
if Libras can't do nothing, honey, we know they can make babies. Nick Cannon, we talking to you. Number
You ain't
2.
ever lied about that.
That man almost got a starting football team, y'all.
Don't threaten him with a good time. My
I don't even
goodness.
think it's a
Don't
threat.
get yourself anywhere near him today.
Girl, I'm at that age bracket too. I'm like, nah, play it. It's okay. I don't want Mariah's
Oh,
leftovers.
oh, oh. I should be so lucky to ever touch anything Mariah did, but not that. But not that. Somehow he'd reverse my
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
tubal. Um
Shut up.
do you want to hit some of these questions?
Yes.
I am here
Yes.
for this.
Okay.
You
Oh,
want to
we
take
got quite a few. Okay, I'll take the first one.
Yeah.
I am a Sag with Venus in Scorpio. Spicy, spicy. My partner is an Aquarius with Venus in Capricorn. Any love advice? Woo cha.
Don't. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't say that ever.
Honestly, I am here for all of this secret dominatrix sex dungeon, all of it, because all 4 of those signs are freaky as fuck. For one, this obviously the Sag and the Aquarius sun is like hot, fire and ice, but also like brrr, 2 people who don't give a fuck, won't filter. But the Venus in Scorpio is intense, possessive, and very much in it to win it. The Venus in Capricorn is methodical. It is like long-term potential. And I think that I feel like Venus and Scorpio and Venus and Capricorn are darker aspects of Venus.
I agree with that.
Or maybe shadowy. I don't want to say darker like that, but more shadowy aspects. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that for both of them, possessiveness and obsession is probably something to just be aware of. Obviously for good, I'm sure the sex is just like poo poo, but for bad, then the obsession kind of gets a little stalkerish on both ends. I don't know.
Yeah, I would be really curious to know these people's moon placements because that would kind of give me an idea of how some of that intense sexual energy actually expresses itself emotionally. Because on their surface, a Sag sun and an Aquarius sun aren't very they aren't oriented toward their expressing themselves emotionally, right? That's just not what they do. It's not that they're not emotional. Everybody is emotional to some extent, but both a Sag and an Aquarius are able to wall it off if they need to, and set it aside or rationalize it in some way that kind of pushes it down or dissipates it, depending. And like you mentioned, those are two very intense, heavier or shadowier Venus placements, which could work really well together because they're both, because I guess the sunny side of obsession is loyalty, right? So if they're obsessed with each other in a way that is productive, that can be okay in a sexual relationship, right? But if, let's say one of them is an Aries moon and the other one's a Cancer moon, that's going to get tricky because then one person needs to be able to act out in order to feel emotionally stable. And the other person needs to be coddled and, really allowed to cry to feel stable. And those energies aren't going to necessarily match. So it's hard to say, but I think it has the potential to work. And I like the fact that they both have like feminine Venuses and masculine suns. That's kind of a nice little match.
I'm gonna venture the guess the Sag might have an Aquarius moon, the Aquarius has a Libra moon. That's my guess.
Oh, cute. That would be cute.
I'm gonna throw a guess out there, which would still again stick with what we said on that. I think this is overall a good mixture for both of them. I think the Aquarius having the Venus Capricorn, there's probably a lot of stability and Saturn-like energy with that. And the Sag and the Scorpio is the more carefree, but here for it. You want to take the next one?
Sure. The next one is from email and is, what do astrologers mean when they say, look at your chart to where blank is happening for you? So I guess I could see this sentence being completed a couple of ways. And I think usually when astrologers say that, like, oh, look to your chart to see where this transit is affecting you, like the full moon in Aries, you would look to your chart to see where Aries sits. You may not have any planets in Aries, but it's nonetheless represented on your chart. And once you find out what house Aries in, then expect that that's the area of your life that's going to be activated during like a full moon transit or whatever. But conversely, you can also look at where your moon is, in your chart and see, like if you have, so you have the moon in Aries. So like for you, a full moon in Aries is obviously going to be extra. Yeah. For me, I have the moon in Cancer. And so I know that a moon in Aries is making a square to it. It's another cardinal sign and not my opposite sign. So it's likely that this is probably not the most comfortable moon for me to work, full moon for me to work with. And I have been keeping a pretty low profile today, like leaning into some fun creative projects and trying to, just keep it pushing till the full moon in Taurus rolls around, which will be much more aligned with my own particular placements. But yeah, so it might mean that they want you to check again, like the astrologer should give a little bit more context than just that, but sometimes they don't. But like where that particular sign lives in your chart, and also what house that planet is living in your chart, and any angles or, like it really kind of depends, because if you have like a lot of Aries placements, but maybe not the moon in Aries, but you have like the sun, Mercury, and Mars in Aries or something, well, then a full moon in Aries is also going to activate you because it's going to shine a light onto all of those Aries placements. What do you think about that question today?
I think you covered it really well. But I mean, It's exactly what Cassie said, is just like really just listen to what they say. I think the best thing that you can always do is learn about your chart, learn about you. And so it's going to be easier for you to reference what people say, learn, you know, as we've said before, knowing your time of birth is really important to knowing the placement of the houses, because not knowing your time of birth can give us a rough estimate about where your rising sign would be, but it's not going to give us an exact of where each placement would be. And that differs from person to person, because that shows you where a lot of your life lessons might come in and how much energy is putting forth in a particular house. And we all know the houses have very different energies, starting from Aries, which is just the beginning. When you move all the way to Pisces, the end, two totally different extremes as far as like modalities and elements. So really just learning where your chart is, even just by memory, like, you know, I know what's in what houses I have certain things in. And just like Cassie said, you know, my moon is in Aries, and that's actually at the top of my chart in the 10th house. And as everybody that knows my facial expression, I can't hide my feelings. So yeah, you just learn to deal with it. And like Cassie said, you know, she's a moon in Cancer, so she was low key today. Me, on the other hand, a moon in Aries, out and about. Everybody saw me. I was there waving, waving, waving. I was just like, it was everything for me. But now I'll go back in my little shell after that and take a nap until like Sag season or something.
It'll be fine. That's probably the best choice.
You know, I'm just saying, because Scorpio season, I don't even know. I'm just, even as a fixed sign on the other end, I'm still like,
yeah, I have a lot of water sign energy in my chart. I have Mars and Saturn in Scorpio, you know, Taurus rising. So yeah, Scorpio season is going to be spicy for me. It's fine. It's going to be great.
girl, you're going to be blessed.
I'll be all right.
If anybody can handle it, it's you. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Email. Out of the 12 signs, who do y'all think are dog people, cat people, both or neither?
I feel like we should start at the top and then go side by side.
Which are dog people or cat? So we should just say the sign
Aries.
and then, okay, and then let's just say what we think.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Aries. Ready?
Yeah, you
Dog.
go first.
Oh, dog.
You think dog?
Yeah.
I would say like TBD other animal, like reptiles or something.
Like a lizard or something?
Yeah. But I can see Aries being, I think, more dog people than cat people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay, Taurus.
I think both. I think they're comfort creatures. They want a floofy body on them. They don't care what. What do you think?
I would totally agree with that. I would 100% agree with that.
All right, Gemini.
Neither, because I don't think they can focus long enough to take care of one.
Bet they wouldn't be able to keep it alive. Agreed.
They would be like, did I feed that?
Exactly. Like,
Or
girl,
feed it
you
too
killed
much.
a cactus. How did you do that?
I did. I watered it. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Cancer.
Dog.
Yeah.
You know what? No, let me. I said dog A because I'm a super dog person, but B because I was also thinking of them, you know, because they're super loyal and they're kind of like the most common family pet, and they, you know, Cancer's very traditional.
For sure. Yeah.
But also Cancers are very much homebodies and can many of them are not as extroverted as I am. So
Facts.
I can also see them being cat people. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's all your third house energy. I would give Cancers. See, I was gonna say something like a goldfish, an aquarium, something like that. Like
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but maybe I'm with you, dog people. because of the loyalty. I don't think they're really I don't think they're cat people. I think they look at cats like they're crazy.
I look at cats like you can see too much, and it makes me nervous. The other thing is Cancer is in the top 3 signs to need an emotional support animal. So for that reason, dog.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Okay, what about Leo?
Oh, a cat.
For sure. 1000% without question.
I think that if anybody can give Leo the same energy that it gets, it's a cat. Bitch, I guess I'm gonna pay attention to you now. Okay, pay attention. I'm done. Anyways. Her.
Oh yes. Virgo. Oh, Leo. 1000%. Yes, cat people. They're the ultimate. They are they are big cats. Like,
yes.
How many Leos have we had on this show who had lion or other cat artwork in their homes? Like, this is a theme for them. It is ongoing.
Yes. Okay, so we're up to what?
Virgo, neither. Too messy. They don't want to take care of it.
I was about to say, nobody's trying to clean up all that cat hair, dog hair. No.
They don't want to smell. They don't want anybody making extra dust balls in their house. No, thank you. Libra.
So Libra, I'm gonna, only because I know a Libra, I'm gonna choose other animal for this. And I'm going to say other because I know a Libra that has a dog and an other animal. Like Miss Suzanne Sugarbake did, if y'all know who that is. So I'm gonna say other. I don't think Libras necessarily would pick a dog or a cat. I feel like they would pick another animal.
I can see that. I think the Libra, whatever animal it is, it's got an adorable sweater for every holiday, and it is cute, and it has a cute name, and they have photos of it in outfits in their house.
Hopefully not in a calendar as well.
10 times out of 10, probably in a calendar as well. Puts us up to Scorpio. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cat or other. Scorpios are intense. Cats are intense. They feel like they want to have a psychological warfare with their pet. And so, for that reason, they would pick a cat. They're bored with dogs. Dogs are so like predictable and easy to, see through. So cats all the way. What do you think?
Cats all the way, mostly because they're just as spooky and witchy as a Scorpio, and it's usually during Scorpio season that we see a lot of cats. So I am here for that.
For sure.
Up to what, Sag?
Mm-hmm.
Horse. I was about to say horses. Because I was thinking of the centaur.
Sure.
Dogs all the way. Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sages are outdoorsy. They like an animal that gives them some sort of exercise, like they need activity. For sure.
Yeah. They're into that, like physical companionship. You can run along this trail with me, and they're Sages, I feel like, are the type of people to often be selective about the company they keep too, and dogs are always good company, Yeah.
And then what's next?
Capricorn.
I would say a dog or nothing.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward nothing. They don't want to have to leave work to like take the dog outside. They're, they've got business trips happening. Dog food is really expensive. Have you seen inflation? It's crazy. I think nothing.
It's funny though. I know a Capricorn with a dog, and I know a Capricorn with 4 cats.
I know a Capricorn male with 2 cats, I think, and then
so that would be the only other. Because I was surprised. I was like, oh, you like not just one cat, but multiple
Yeah. Interesting.
But I
Okay.
don't think a Capricorn would have just one cat. They would probably have just one dog, but they wouldn't have just one cat. They would have multiple,
Sure.
things going on. Aquarius. Honestly, I would say both and other. I think Aquarius would be the one sign that would just be like, what am I feeling? And it could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be a Komodo dragon, it could be a starfish, it could be a hamster, it could be a ferret. I just feel like Aquarius is like, a pet is a pet. We'll see who needs the love.
I agree. I think that they're like, if you know somebody who's got a weird pet, maybe it's probably they're an Aquarius. Like, oh, did you see Jay's hermit crab? Jay is an Aquarius. Like, oh, you know that girl Mary? She's got a lynx. She's an Aquarius. That's weird. Why do you have that as a pet? But they needed the
Why
love.
not?
And why not? An Aquarius is also liable to be being held not against their will in a cage at someone else's house being their pet. You never know with them. They're on some other shit.
If you could tell me what to do, tell me what to do.
Right?
What's our last one?
Pisces. I think a Pisces is an other but fluffy pet. Like my mom keeps bunnies, and that feels very on brand for Pisces, like a soft other. They're like, they want to give their love, but they're a little. Pisces are, sometimes they need to withdraw. They know that they need the space. They don't want to be depended on all the time by a pet. Maybe they need a pet that's a little bit more self-sufficient, but something that's still cute and fluffy.
I am here for that. I like that. I'm with you for other, like, initially I was going to say, of course, another very similar to can't like an aquarium, very similar to something like, but have like a whole ecosystem going on or something like that. And or like a very other fluffy animal.
Chinchilla.
That's you were in my head. I was gonna say, I'm like, I think a chinchilla is a pit, and it's like a coat. But
you touch one of those things and you see why people wanted to make coats out of them. They are very nice feeling, but you shouldn't do that. That's gross.
No. PETA, sorry.
Yeah.
We love pets.
Yeah. We don't want to slaughter the chinchillas, but it is. That was a fun question, fun thought exercise there. If you disagree with us, argue about it in the chat. We would love to hear counterpoints. All right, so last question. What astrology couples do you think are long lasting?
Nobody these days. I'm just playing. A general statement. I think when you find someone who's ends up complimenting you in whatever way that goes, it doesn't necessarily mean elemental. It just means that how you express yourself is complementary to someone else. I think a lot of times opposites do attract, and certain sister signs have long-term potentials. I also think that other sister signs struggle with that because they're so far apart from trying to come together. I think a lot of fire sign matches together seem to be long lasting, and I think the passion hasn't burned out. I don't think a lot of air sign together matches last very long. I think they can. I just saw that Shakira and her husband, and they were both Aquarius. They're not together anymore.
And they got
Um,
them too. Shit.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think that opposite elements go really well together. I would hate to put it particularly on signs because I feel like I've been surprised when I've met people and like, oh, this is my partner. And I was like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like the Libra and the Virgo that I met last night, we say that sometimes signs that are side by sides don't have anything that brings them common together. But I think what brought this couple together was that he had a Virgo moon and she was a Virgo moon. And so I think your moon signs will really need to be moon and Venus, I think need to be more complementary than your sun signs.
I agree with that. I think it's really hard to narrow it down to like specific sun signs that last longer than others because it's just, those individual humans are much more complicated than that. I would say like kind of a general rule of thumb of who you're probably gonna like, again, if you are a Cancer sun and every other planet in your chart is Aries, you're going to be bringing Aries energy to the table, not really Cancer energy. So keep that in mind as I'm saying this. But if you have like, look at what the biggest concentration of energy is in your chart, and the two signs that are of this, like if you have a lot of water sign energy, earth signs. So the other feminine sign, or same. So look for feminine, masculine, but not the same element. And so for me, I have a lot of Cancer energy. So I'm looking at earth signs, and then I'm excluding the cardinal one because I'm a cardinal one. I want a fixed or mutable person to be my partner, right? So for me, that would look like a Virgo or a Taurus partner, which I do generally get along with those signs well, but I married a Sagittarius and like we have a great thing. And if you look at our charts, you can see where there are other things that are complementary, but also it's just because it works for us. And, there's a lot more to every individual than their astrological, certainly their sun sign, but their astrological chart also, right? Like we're all an amalgamation of experiences and family histories and places where we grew up and all these other things that kind of shape us. But yeah, so, it's hard to say.
I think
I've been surprised by the couples that have lasted a long
oh
time.
yeah. And I would say like nobody's excluded until they're excluded. Like you can say like, I've dated all of this and I have dated a range of signs. And I haven't excluded any sign for one particular reason because most of the time it was that person and the other energies they had within them, not necessarily just their sign. Because I tend to get a lot. I mean, there's most of the signs I get along with. I think there's some that I just choose not to, you just don't have that. But immediately, like I'm always drawn to fire signs, but I'm an air sign. Like fire signs and I see each other and it's like, what's up? And then I'm find, earth signs sprinkled in there and water signs. And I think I don't really attract a lot of air signs. And I think it's because I have so much fire in my chart. I have I have all of the energies in every single fire sign. So I real spicy. But I think that the best thing you can do is just learn your chart and go beyond your sun, your moon, and your rising. And I know like a lot of times, thank you to everybody that reaches out to us on TikTok and we, read your big three. That's really fun for us. We're going to keep doing it. But extend that to your big six and you kind of look at your Venus and look at your Mars and look at your Mercury. And so your Mercury is how you're communicating with people. Your Mars is how you take action and kind of like what really, sexually attracts you and that type of masculine energy. And then your Venus is how you like to be loved and how you like to receive loved. And all three of those can be in very different signs. They can be in complementary. I know some people with the same Venus and Mars in the same sign, which I think sometimes is difficult because they're not necessarily meant to be in the same sign.
Yeah.
Because the energies are so, like we were talking about, masculine and feminine, and learning how you communicate. Not everybody communicates. I have a Mercury in Aquarius, which means my brain is quick. I think quick. I talk quickly. And so maybe a Mercury in Taurus, I have to be extra patient with, because they're going to be very methodical and slow and very sensual and particular in their speech. A Mercury in Cancer can be probably more emotional, and I have to kind of take that into consideration and acknowledge what they're trying to say through their emotions. So just really learning about your chart, you'll find it works. Start a little streak, be like, like, what's your big three? Okay, what's your big six? You know what I mean? And then like compare, see if it works. But I mean, you have to make sure that you are feeling like you understand yourself, and you are, we say vibrating at a high vibration. And to me, that just means you're trying to be a better self, that you're not succumbing to anything that's lower energy, because we talk about light and shadow signs of light and shadow sides of the signs. And, as an Aquarius, a very much a shadow sign is being cold, aloof, and distant. And so knowing that, I try to make an effort to not be that way. But sometimes a girl feels how she feels, and it is what it is. But, with your partner, you might want to try something different.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head, Tennah. Is really the key to getting a long-lasting partnership is being in touch with yourself. What works for you, what doesn't, what can you tolerate, what can't you? What are your pitfalls? How are you going to mitigate those in a partnership situation? And you'll get, you'll get better partners the more tuned in you are.
Oh, yes. You will definitely find out what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
But then start to think in terms of what you do want, and don't worry about what you don't want, because you don't have to think about that anymore,
Yep.
But Cassie and I know life is all about trial and error, and we've had some trials.
Oh yes, a few
and
frogs.
Some errors. And some arrows.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I'm sorry, y'all, we didn't have our guest with us, but we sure did have fun with you guys and each other.
Like, when ain't nothing but to do it. Join us in a couple weeks on I believe it's 25th, if I'm not mistaken. 23rd. Mm-hmm. Listen to Cassie, she knows. We will have our new moon in Scorpio eclipse. We're talking about transformation. So we are definitely going to talk about the eclipses. Then we're going to talk about the north and south nodes. The north and south node is now on the Taurus and Scorpio axis, which is why we're having this eclipse. And we will be right before election season. So I'm sure everything will be much more ramped up. Who knows what other secrets will be revealed? I just want to say to any of the women whose husbands were exposed, I'm sorry that you and your children have to go through that and experience that through no fault of your own. And I want you to know that we have the utmost compassion for you in dealing with this very hurtful moment so very publicly. And we wish you so much success beyond this, because once you get through it, baby, you're going to be shining and gliding, because karma will be back for them and you will be on your way. So we wish you all the healing and love right now through this very public issues. And I'm so sorry. I just feel so bad. Like, social media has been a great thing, but it's just like, nothing happens to you in private. And not during Scorpio exposure. So join us then, same time, 8:00. And hit us up on Instagram if you have any questions. Hit us up on TikTok if you have any questions. You can email us at the Zodiac Chatline at gmail.com. Before we go, we're going to pull a card for you from the divine. I'm going to try this again. Yes. Look at that. Ooh, I got this. Almost. The Divine Feminine Oracle. I know it's really bright, guys. I'm sorry. I haven't figured out this lighting yet. Yes. By Megan Watterson. She does have a book called Reveal. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. It is a very good book on spirituality in general. But these are beautiful cards. I'll show you guys the back. Whoop. So we're going to pull one for the collective for Libra season, since we know Libra is a divine feminine represented by the Empress in the tarot. It does represent Venus. If you know, you know, we all love that Empress energy. She is what? All four queens in one. Ooh, loving this. We have Saraswati, the goddess of self-knowledge. The essence of who I am flows effortlessly into everything I create.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Won't she do it? Bear with me for a moment.
Yes. Saraswati from the Hindu pantheon. She is very beautiful.
There you go, Cassie. All right. There it is. Saraswati represents the self-knowledge of who we are so that nothing impedes the flow of creativity from the soul. Her name is a fusion of the Sanskrit words for essence and oneself. Saraswati's name translates then as the one who leads to the essence of self-knowledge. She is part of the Hindu goddess trinity, the Tridevi, together with Parvati and Lakshmi. All three goddesses help the trinity of Hindu gods Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva to create, maintain, and regenerate the universe. The earliest mention of Saraswati is in the Rig Veda, a collection of ancient sacred texts that date back to 1500 BCE. She is sometimes referred to as the mother of the Vedas and is understood to be the personification of knowledge. Students appealed to her for assistance on exams, and writers and artists prayed to her to remove all the obstacles that keep them from being a clear conduit for the creativity that wants to come through them. She is considered to be a river goddess or a feminine deity with healing flowing waters. She is venerated as the goddess of music, the arts, and learning because of this association with waters that heal and purify. Her iconography often associates her with a white lotus, symbolizing the purity of her energy, purity of her wisdom, her energy brings. When your soul selects this card, when we are aligned with the essence of who we are, then what needs to be communicated through us, whether with words or music or artwork, can flow. When our creativity feels blocked or stagnant, it isn't because the waters have dried up. We might fear this, but the truth is that self-awareness is the key to unlocking our creative flow. When we take the time to return to the essence of who we really are and nurture that essence, we realign again with the river of expression that the soul generates. Saraswati is the reminder that anything we create that purifies us in the process of making it a blessing. Our art should not be judged on popularity, but on its power to transform us. Saraswati is a call to the return of essence of our true self. The energy of her card is a charge for more self-knowledge, more awareness of our own unique soul, and what our needs are in this moment. She leads us back into the finely attuned space where we can express with ease and grace what the soul most desires most to share. And that energy feels like a river moving through us. It heals, it liberates, and it inspires others to return to their own essence as well. The soul voice meditation. What is one word to describe the essence of my true self? The intention. The essence of who I am flows effortlessly with everything into everything I create. One more time for the home team. Sorry, guys. I'm going to work it out. Let me need it. There we go. You should just get it. I'm not doing really well. But I will say what I did love about that was the essence of self-knowledge. And we literally just talked about really learning your chart. And that's the beginning of self-knowledge. And Cassie and I mean, it's a life, it's a lifelong learning lesson. You're here to learn lessons in this earth school as what your soul is coming here to do. And so learning about yourself and applying that in the lessons every day is what we're here to do. So just one day at a time.
That's right. Oh, wonderful.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks. Same time, same place. Cassie, couldn't do this without you. Never want to. Love you, girl.
Love you.
To all the people out there, it's all love as always. And what?
Peace.